Mark Carney was at World Economic Forum. Surprise, surprise. The outsider, as acclaimed by his appearance on Jon Stewart. I'm such an outsider that I have 3 different citizenships. I work with the WEF. I have these institutions that are betraying Canada, but also investing in overseas fossil fuel initiatives while telling Canadians that they have to cough up more tax dollars because of climate change. Surprise, surprise, he's at the WEF. He's at the World Economic Forum agenda, where he stated, as shown by Andrew Lawton here, speaking as a European, I like to say the following. When Mark Carney is paling around with his WEF chums, he doesn't even identify as Canadian. Interesting. Interesting. Well, let's see how that went out.
Mark, you look like you were about to.
Yeah, it was a tell.
As a European, as a
European, I am a European, actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm Irish citizen. Yeah. So speaking as a European, I like to say the following.
Well, as a European, why are you running in a Canadian election? Isn't that interesting? Coming from the insider outsider. Let's
Mark,
hear
you
this
look
again.
like you were about to.
Yeah, it was a tell.
As a European, as a
European, I am a European, actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm Irish citizen. Yeah. So there you go.
Welcome.
Speaking as a European, I like to say the following.
So you remember when Mark Carney not only announced himself as some sort of outsider to Jon Stewart, which we know that was a big giant lie, but then he reveals the truth in this interview here, explained that he is indeed a globalist. He is a globalist insider, and that's exactly what Canadians need. As we just saw him at the WEF announcing that, I'm also European, running in a Canadian election. So just remind people.
I'm connected. I can deliver for the country. My weakness is, people will charge me as being elitist or a globalist, to use that term, which is, that's exactly,
And he says that's a weakness. A weakness that people are going to find out my identity. I'm like Clark Kent. Oh my God. But I'm not Superman. I'm actually Lex Luthor. Oh no. People are going to find out the true identity of me. Then I'm not this, outsider with 3 different identities. Then nobody can hold account to me. Wow. Hear that again.
I'm connected. I can deliver for the country. My weakness is, people will charge me as being elitist or a globalist, to use that term, which is, that's exactly, it happens to be exactly what we need. My weakness as a politician.
What we need, as opposed to, the how many years of globalistic tyranny that this country has to endure. Over the how many years that this country has been kind of the guinea pig testing ground for the WEF. Oh, yeah, the country definitely needs more of that. That's how I'm going to be ushered in to be Justin Trudeau's replacement. And then once I get in, I'm going to take every opportunity, including Emergencies Powers Act, which hasn't been used for any legitimate reason except for war. We used it the last time to incriminate Canadians who are peacefully protesting against medical tyranny. But now I'm going to use it to garner control over this country, to maintain a position of power, entrench myself, and pretend to go after Donald Trump's tariffs. The guy who's part of the party and agenda that brought us to the state. So, this is kind of interesting. So, CNBC, this is back from 2012. This is when Mark Carney, who was the outsider, was going to run for the Bank of England. And CNBC says Mark Carney needs to start studying for the citizenship test. He may well know his stuff when it comes to central banking, but the future Bank of England Governor Mark Carney will have to show a wide breadth of knowledge about British history, culture, and customs before he claimed British citizenship. So this is when Mark Carney was a supposed Canadian, was working at the Bank of Canada, now is going overseas to work at the Bank of England. And now he has 2 citizenships with this. He also has a third with Ireland, and there's no accountability to this guy. He is literally like Clark Kent, but instead of actually being Superman, he's actually the Lex Luthor character. And they don't want people to know his true identity. So the Canadian central bank chief, who was named as the next governor of Britain's central bank, is set to receive a house and British citizenship as benefits of taking the job. And Carney has said he plans to take up British nationality. But before he does that, he will have to take a test delivered to thousands of other immigrants each year titled Life in the UK. Carney will face questions on a variety of subjects, from the legal, historical, and cultural laws of the land, to be more prosaic, such as the standard voltage in UK homes and the driving age in Britain. The test has been criticized for being too idiosyncratic, and many native Britons have struggled to answer some of the questions, particularly on British history. David Letterman famously used the test to catch out British Prime Minister David Cameron, who he appeared on The Late Show. Cameron failed to answer a question on the translation of the Magna Carta, one of the founding documents setting down the tenets of British liberty and democracy. Isn't that interesting? Eyebrows were raised in some quarters of Britain after the government chose, not elected, chose a foreigner to head the central bank. But British Chancellor George Osborne told members of Parliament that although Carney is not a British citizen, as a Canadian, he was still a British subject. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we just found the loophole that gives Mark Carney the clearance of why he's running in the Liberal leadership race in Canada. Even though he is a huge red flag to democratic violations, even though he is tied to Brookfield, he is tied to the WEF, he is tied to these international conglomerates, even though we have no accountability or track record of who this guy is, where he's accounted of. He's friends with Ghislaine Maxwell and family. We have no real backing of this guy. But according to this article here, if he was able to run and be chosen, not even run, but just be chosen and chosen by the British Parliament to run the central bank, now we know why Mark Carney is able to squeeze himself in to the Liberal leadership race. Because, he'll just say, well, it's part of the Commonwealth. Even though I have a British citizenship, even though I have a citizenship of Ireland, even though I haven't been in the country in how many years, I'm able to run a leadership race because, we're all coordinated together. Carney has a British wife, and his children have dual citizenship, which is now 3, as we're speaking. However, it will take the new Bank of England governor between 3 years and 5 years to qualify to take the test, since he must be granted permanent residence in the UK. Again, just goes to show you how much democracy these democratically elected countries, the Western, hemisphere that claims so much about protecting democracy. Oh, we got to support Ukraine because of the democracy. Oh, we can't have someone like Trump because we're protecting democracy. Oh, we can't have freedom of speech because it's protecting democracy. You don't have democracy. You have hand-chosen puppets selected by the mafia globalistic rule that tyrannize over all countries. That's where we're at right now, and that's why someone like Mark Carney was able to be the governor of Bank of England and then all of a sudden run on the leadership ticket here in Canada under the Liberal Party. That's why he's able to do this. Meanwhile, while nobody views this as a conflict of interest, they are discussing Elon Musk, of all people. Which I get. Elon Musk is a very, let's just say, interesting fella. When he goes on stage with Javier Milei and he waves around a chainsaw, claiming that he's cutting down government spending. That's including Medicare and Social Security. Despite all the qualms of Elon Musk, this is absolute lunacy. Because they know about someone like Mark Carney. They know how problematic a person like him in Canadian politics is going to be. But they don't consider him a conflict of interest. But they do consider someone like Elon Musk in the United States. The point that they did a petition here. This is petition to the Prime Minister from Charlie Angus, so Timmins, James Bay, New Democratic Party caucus, so from the NDP. They say Elon Musk has engaged in activities that go against the national interest of Canada. Care to elaborate? Is it because Elon Musk runs Tesla and electric vehicles are concerning here in Canada? Is that what they mean by against natural interest? I'm sure that's the case, right? It has nothing to do with the fact that, they allowed Twitter to have a bit of free expression. That we have a platform that's willing to actually engage in different opinions and ideas, and we're able to actually express more freely on a platform. Sure, that's not the case, right? He has used his wealth and power to influence our elections. Again, compared to Galen Weston, compared to the billionaire class that rules over us, considering George Soros, considering Warren Buffett, considering Bill Gates. No, but crack down on Elon Musk as much as possible. Crack down on the one specific person that kind of steps outside of your typical ideologue. The one individual. Not the complete corruption of the political structure that is destroying the country. He is now a member of a foreign government that is attempting to erase Canadian sovereignty in the United States. Again, just anyway, and the attempts of Elon Musk to attack Canada's sovereignty must be addressed. Unbelievable. We, the undersigned citizens of Canada, call upon the Prime Minister to revoke Elon Musk's dual citizenship status and revoke his Canadian passport effective immediately. Again, the reason I'm showing you this is despite the qualms of Elon Musk, and I know that there's a lot of them, like I said, he may be onto something with Doge. I give credit to the fact that he's willing to open the books and show transparency, but he is a billionaire. He does have qualms of his own. He does have a lot of suspicions that we need to hold account. The reason why this is hilarious is because while they're spending so much time and energy dead focused on Elon Musk, look at how much of other billionaires, other corruption, other people in the same conflict of interest that are going under the radar. People like Mark Carney, who is Charlie Angus going to petition that he be disqualified for running in the leadership race, for disqualifying to become Prime Minister? God, no. Because Mark Carney is the good class. It's the good billionaire. He's the good globalist. Unlike that Elon Musk. I mean, I'm okay with Tesla and I'm okay with that, but he's allowing free speech. He's doing this Doge thing. Oh my God. He clapped along with Donald Trump joking about Canada becoming the 51st state. So, Here's this woman here is gonna break some stuff down about who Mark Carney is.
Mark Carney, the self-proclaimed outsider and the self-proclaimed best choice for the Liberal leader of Canada after Justin Trudeau resigns. It only took me 5 minutes to realize that this guy was more of an insider than the entire members list of the Bohemian Grove Secret Society. Yeah, the guy's been at Bilderberg meetings, like a true outsider, like you and me. We're outsiders. Of course, we're going to go to Bilderberg meetings. And if you're wondering why he's been filmed or had pictures taken with Ghislaine Maxwell, according to the Toronto Sun, it's because his wife's sister went to the same high school as Ghislaine Maxwell. Totally believable for someone who's gone to the Bilderberg meetings. Anyway, what Mark Carney is basically an economic...
It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence that, oh, you went to the same school as the pimp that was escorting underage children to a sex island held by Jeffrey Epstein, who we know is connected to the Mossad. Just a coincidence. Coincidence that you have meetings together. Coincidence that you walk along parks in the UK. Just a coincidence that you're all part of the same list, that you're all part of the same group. Just a happy coincidence. He's such an outsider.
Grim Reaper. He is BlackRock's trustee for bankruptcy. His entire job is to go into countries, absolutely economically destroy them, and then have investment banks buy out all of the resources and labor while taking away your freedoms and rights under the Green New Deal. That was literally his idea. So let me just show you some of the things I found about Mark Carney, the outsider that everybody talks about. In 2008 crisis in Canada, what Mark Carney did is he loaded us up with so much debt that the moment the economy turned, the working class in Canada is now 75% working class, paid for it through interest rates so high they crippled and broke every middle class family with a mortgage. And then he moved to England and did the exact same to the English. And his name there is actually Mark Carnage. Even the former Liberal Party president Stephen Ledrew says that Carney is a wickedly dangerous man hoping to curtail individual freedom in order to achieve his view of what the world needs. He makes the WEF, the World Economic Forum, look like libertarians.
And he's able to get away with all this because no one's holding him accountable. But yet they'll go insanely ballistic on someone like Ruby Dalla because her social media is not acceptable, because she's a difficult candidate, because she might interfere with some questions, bringing account to this, and that's why they had to put those allegations towards her about foreign interference with no backing to those allegations.
He's also BlackRock's bankruptcy trustee. Isn't that weird how he's such an outsider? Lol. He's also leading a campaign for a green digital cryptocurrency to replace the US dollar. Because that's totally normal. He's such an outsider that he's basically a member of the Group of 30. I mean, you might as well just be a part of the Committee of 300. And also the World Economic Forum. And he's attended Bilderberg meetings. He also wrote, if some companies and industries fail to adapt to this new anti-carbon world, they will fail to exist. So he's basically telling you that you have no choice. Not really surprising, considering he wrote a book called Values, Building a Better World for All, and where he says Western society is morally rotten and also requires rigid controls on personal freedoms. And I also came to find out that he's been advising Justin Trudeau in the background in 2020, and he is the reason why Canadians had their bank accounts frozen during the trucker protests. Let me show you. Mark Carney said this about the convoy: those who are still helping to extend this occupation must be identified and punished to full force of the law. Drawing the line means choking off the money that financed this occupation. And he's not referring to financial organizations or companies disobeying his green rules, but the citizens who have the right to protest. Yeah. And what's also interesting is if you look into him, every job that he had, he was appointed to. There were multiple people in line for his job with a lot more experience than Mark Carney, and somehow he just got in because he's really good friends with people at Bilderberg groups and like other groups, you know, that kind of control everything in the world. So the guy is literally Justin Trudeau's handler. And because Justin Trudeau screwed up so much, he's now there to kind of finish Canada off. So if you guys really want to know who Mark Carney is, there you go. The outsider Mark Carney, aka the Grim Reaper for the economic destruction of Canada, and also the guy who's going to absolutely curtail and take away your freedoms in the name of the green environment initiatives.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is what they're praising as Justin Trudeau's successor. And every single ounce of this man screams a violation and a conflict of interest. And if nobody could see that, if you still think that Mark Carney is some savior that's going to protect us from someone like Trump and listen to the mainstream media, then I have to say, you are a sheep. You are sheep. You are blinded sheep to think that Mark Carney, a guy who came out of nowhere, who was part of this problem, part of this dilemma, part of the complete erosion of this nation, is going to save you. You are just sheep following into the trap. You are propagandized sheep, and you need to be woken to the idea that Mark Carney is not a savior. Mark Carney is the sinister ghoul that wants to take over the country. He's not looking to get elected. He's looking to seize control. And the rest of the country, the rest of the politicians are allowing to do this because they're also part of this club. They're also part of the scheme. They're also part of the coronation of Mark Carney. And that's why they went after someone like Ruby Dalla, who was gaining momentum, gaining tail behind Mark Carney, and was considered majority of the people's consideration to lead the Liberal Party. And they ousted her by giving fake allegations and fictitious stories about her to cancel her out. Meanwhile, Mark Carney, who has all this and more, is not hailed to any questioning, no scrutiny, nothing within the party or within the mainstream media. Even though this guy screams nothing but a conflict of interest. This guy who came out of nowhere, is part of the WEF, done Bilderberg meetings. His wife is best friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, just out of sheer coincidence that they went to the same schools. And now wants to take control over the Liberal Party and take control of the country. And Mark Carney is not a fool. He is someone who is sinister enough that if he gets into office, if he does get coronated in and ushered in, which it seems to look like, he is going to take every single sinister control measure, including an Emergencies Power Act violation again against Canadians, to seize control and opportunity to take control of the country and also go after someone like Trump, which is just going to doom us all, going to doom this country even worse.